Hello, my name is Chris Norcross, and in this video I'll be discussing Ireland's response to climate change. Ireland is an island in the northeastern Atlantic Ocean with a total land area of around 83,000 square kilometers and a combined population of nearly 7 million people. The Irish GDP per capita for 2017 was estimated at about $70,000, well above the world average. On 16 October 2017, Storm Ophelia made landfall over Ireland with sustained winds of about 65 miles per hour and gusts nearly 100 miles per hour. Ireland is no stranger to Atlantic storms, but Ophelia, with nearly hurricane-force winds, was something different. Climate change models predict that extreme weather events will be made worse, and Ophelia seems to be an example of this. Ireland has a culture that extends back for millennia, and the island's people have played crucial roles in the history of Western civilization. Although not without political turmoil at times, modern Ireland is a highly developed nation with a vibrant economy and a well-educated population. Ireland also has good access to technology, which has become a central part of its economy. The government of the Republic of Ireland is based in Dublin. It has a tripartite system consisting of a parliament of elected representatives, an executive branch led by a president, and an independent judicial branch. Many officials are elected by the people and have set term limits. Ireland recognizes the importance of climate change and the effects it is liable to experience in the coming decades. As such, Ireland's government has a number of departments and agencies with responsibilities over climate monitoring and climate change responses. These include the Department of Communications, Climate Action and Environment, the Environmental Protection Agency or EPA, the Irish Meteorological Service, and the Geological Survey. Also, Climate Ireland is an EPA-funded initiative meant to provide information and assist with adaptation to climate change. Climate Ireland's website has a collection of climate data from Ireland. These graphs here clearly show the continuing rise in atmospheric CO2 and methane, the growing average temperatures, increasing ocean acidification, and rise in sea level and sea temperature. They also show increases in carbon sequestration through improvements in land use in Ireland. Ireland's government acknowledges many projected climate change effects that people may notice up through 2050. Some of these are increased temperatures, changes in growing seasons, changes in rainfall patterns, rising sea levels, and more severe storms like Ophelia. Some probable consequences of these effects are damage to port infrastructure, health effects to people and livestock, and changes in habitat ranges of marine and terrestrial species. Ireland's government has been proactive about climate change in many ways, including the publication of documents like the National Adaptation Framework. It begins with a message from the government acknowledging that climate change is happening and that Ireland is feeling the effects now. It lays out the beginnings of a plan for the various levels of Irish government so they can begin working to deal with climate change effects. A review of Irish mitigation and adaptation so far reveals some good points. The nation now produces over 20% of its electricity with wind power and intends to raise this to 40% by 2030. Additionally, Ireland has a carbon tax that has been in place since 2010, which has generated over €2 billion in revenue. However, as of their 2018 report, the Irish Climate Change Advisory Council reports that Ireland's emissions continue to rise despite the efforts made so far, and that the country is now off track to meet their 2020 emission reduction obligations. The Council recommended making increases to the standing carbon tax, but when the government met in October, this did not happen. I chose Ireland for this case study because I believe Ireland is in a geographic position to experience noticeable climate change effects as they develop. The Irish people have enough education, economic power, and access to technology to understand what is happening, and they have a democratic government system that must ultimately be responsive to the desires of the people. Ireland is also a relatively small nation, and so I assumed it might be easier for Ireland to implement changes that help climate mitigation. What I found is that Ireland understands the problem, and while they've made a good start on climate mitigation and adaptation efforts, they're also finding it truly challenging to make enough changes quickly enough to meet their agreed-upon climate goals. I believe the evidence from Ireland shows that climate adaptation and mitigation are fully possible, but that it won't be as cheap or as easy as anyone might like. Thank you for watching.